Hello and welcome to the special episode of Cricket Predictor, proudly sponsored by 1xBat and Vimeki. I'm Anand Kaur, and as always, I'm ready to bring all the latest updates from the world of cricket. In today's episode, we're going to discuss about the eighth match of the IPL, which is the Southern Derby, where Chennai Super Kings will take on Royal Challengers Bangalore at their home Chepauk. But before that, let's dive into yesterday's thrilling encounter where Lucknow Super Giants beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 5 wickets. Shardul Thakur's lethal bowling and explosive innings by Nicholas Puran and Mitchell Marsh made sure that Lucknow Super Giants win comfortably. Sunrisers Hyderabad lost the toss and they batted first. They scored 190 for 9 in 20 overs, which is very unusual. But Lucknow Super Giants chased it comfortably in 16.1 runs. But that was yesterday, and that was their first Lucknow Super Giants' first win. Now, let's talk about today's match, which is between CSK and RCB. CSK and RCB have faced each other 34 times in the history of the IPL. Securing 21 victories, CSK has the edge, and RCB has won only 12 matches. Only one ended in a tie. So now we have special guests with us, Australian journalist Paul Dennett and Indian sports journalist Tauz Rizvi. Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, boss. Thank you so much for joining. How are we doing today?
Hey, Anand. I'm going well. How are you?
I'm good, all good. And I have my second guest, Tauz Rizvi. How are you doing today, Tauz?
Fantastic. It's very hot in Mumbai, and especially the IPL has made it hotter. So yeah, I'm doing great, and I hope you guys are doing great as well.
I think it's the same everywhere. It's getting hotter because, as you rightly said, the IPL. So first, let's quickly talk about yesterday's match. Paul, so many things happened. We were expecting total from SRH. So what went wrong here? The batting for sure, but bowling. So I think what was the
Well, I think that uh, we're all wrong in predicting that SRH was going to win. I think one thing is to say we can't say that too much went wrong with the batting because 190, with the exception of maybe this IPL and last IPL, it's still a decent score. I think our expectations of SRH, and there was talk of maybe 300, well, that didn't eventuate. To your credit, Anant, you were mentioning yesterday that Shardul Thakur was going to be a significant player, and that's what he proved to be. He's a little bit lucky to get Ishan Kishan's first ball with the strangle down the leg side, but he bowled really well. And I think that each time SRH started to get a bit of momentum, a wicket would fall. They eventually got Travis Head out, having dropped him twice. And then Nicholas Puran was just unbelievable in the reply, a strike rate of 260, overshadowing Mitchell Marsh, who played pretty well. And that'll be heartening for LSG, that they are starting to put together a fairly decent little lineup.
I mean, you don't call Shardul Thakur Lord Shardul Thakur just like that. I think he sort of, proved it yesterday with so much happening. Taos, what would you have to say about the match? Because I think nobody was expecting this. Whenever SRH is a run fest, that happened yesterday.
Uh, no, absolutely. We all were expecting 300 or maybe, some kind of a record from SRH, considering what they did in the first game. But you know what? They now it seems to be they are heavily dependent on their top order. For now, it's just their second game, but they are heavily dependent on their top order. That is Travis Head, that is Abhishek Sharma, the dynamic, the youngster, and Ishan Kishan showed exactly what he did in the previous game, not the last one. So you can say that it was the top order failure. Apart from that, I was just looking at the numbers. They have used as far as 7 bowlers, which means every individual bowler were, very ordinary compared to 190, a total which is still very good in T20 cricket, and especially when you bat when you have a wicket at Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium. So defending 190 was still not easy, and credit to Nicholas Puran the way he played. But I'm sorry, Sunrisers Hyderabad, you are too heavily dependent on your top order, and that was one of the reasons that they failed. You had Henrich Klassen, you had some other great batsman, Nitish Reddy, youngster. Then you had your captain Pat Cummins who can swing the bat as well. So if the top order fails, I think Sunrisers Hyderabad get exposed still earlier stage, but I would still feel I would expect the middle order to come good as well if their top order fails.
I think that should happen in the next match when it does. But now that was yesterday, and today we have RCB versus CSK. Virat Kohli versus MS Dhoni. So, Paul, I'd like to ask you: are we witnessing Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni play for the last time in this series?
Quite possibly. I hope not. It is one of the biggest sporting events of the year. In the world. I was in Delhi last year when they met for the second time, and on the streaming service, they got almost up to 50 crore individual streams. And that sort of number for someone in a country with a population of 25 million to have almost 500 million separate streams, it certainly put things in perspective. And I think that this is, in many ways, although the results have been heavily in CSK's favour over the years, it is a massive game because of the Dhoni factor and because of the Kohli factor. Not even mentioning, Jadeja and Ashwin as well. These are some of the biggest names in the history of Indian cricket, and it is a tremendously exciting prospect. The match itself may well be a slow, low affair that dominated by spin, but unquestionably, this will get one of the biggest viewing audiences of any sporting event in the world this year.
I think, as you rightly mentioned, that this will favor spinners. Because this has been the surface where Paul said that this favors the spinners and the low scoring contest is there. And at this stadium, the team batting first has won 57% of the matches, while chasing has won 43%. So, in such a scenario, will the team winning the toss prefer to bat first?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chennai view is one of the factors in India when it comes to summers. I mean, and the summers are setting in a very, very fast manner. But yeah, Chennai definitely the wicket is slower on the slower side, and it's easier to bowl first and then chase it down in second because you can't grip the ball, which is a usual thing that happens in India. But I think Chennai has got the advantage, especially when they're playing at home. They will have their crowd, they will have Dhoni's fans all around. Apart from that, they have some great spinners, and in Noor Ahmed and Ravindra Jadeja, who can trouble the batters, especially Virat Kohli and Rajat Patidar. That will be an interesting contest. How these guys, turn up against these spinners, because I feel apart from Krunal Pandya, they don't have a potent spinner who can the second spinner who can be effective in Chennai. So I think it's more about Chennai Super Kings spin bowling against the batting of RCB, which is still good. But I would say it's still an even contest, of fun contest, one that a mouth watering one.
Now, like we see in Chennai, although 141 matches played, fast bowlers have dominated. They have taken 379 wickets, and spinners have taken 226 wickets. So, and here we are discussing spinners. Considering this, can we rely on fast bowlers along with spinners?
Absolutely, fast bowlers usually have a role to play in each and every format, because I mean, without them, it's the cricket is incomplete, because how would you operate the new ball with? And especially, I would say the last year, Deepak Chahar was very, very important for Chennai Super Kings. But this time, I don't think their spin bowling is much more better. I look at that way, because they don't have experienced seamers, or maybe you can say swing bowlers. And Nathan Ellis is still somebody who's getting used to the conditions. Shivam Dube hardly bowls. He's called a medium pacer. Khalil Ahmed coming from India. He did a good job in the previous game, but then you need to have a lot of confidence. I hope he continues with that. But I would say it's still a balanced thing, considering RCB doesn't have great fast bowlers as well. So spinners would dominate in this particular game, even though seamers have a great history. But I think it's the spinners who are going to have a day in this particular game.
I think you've rightly summed up, because all eyes will be on RCB spinners, because you still can have some trust on CSK spinners. Paul, Rachin Ravindra has scored 190 runs in 6 matches at this Chennai ground. So can he post a significant here, seeing his last 5 innings where he scored 65 and 37, 105 when you go like that?
I think he's an absolutely key player. He was fantastic in the Champions Trophy. Last year, he looked like he was going to be a top player, and he's really coming through on that promise. I think he is one of the most significant players in the tournament. I mean, we mentioned spin. They've got enough. They probably don't need to turn to him. But he's a handy spin bowler himself. He bowled pretty well for New Zealand in the Champions Trophy as well. So, you look at the CSK lineup and him opening up. I think that is going to be one of their strong suits for sure.
Absolutely. I think the host has maybe because of the network issue have left. But she would soon come back. But Paul, what do you think about MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli rivalry? Although MS Dhoni would be coming down the order, you may see him in the last six balls as well. You will hardly see him, but he's there mostly behind the wickets. How do you see this guy? Although getting older and older, but he continues to be come up with those lightning stumpings. How do the Australians see put Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the great Indian captain?
Well, his hands are faster than any wicketkeeper that I've ever seen, and it's worth the admission alone just watching his stumpings. And I don't know why other wicketkeepers don't practice it, but that he just seems to be far better. I do wish he'd bat up higher up the order, and I know I understand from his point of view. He's there to come in the last few balls and have a bit of a swing. But last IPL, he had one of the best strike rates of anyone in the entire tournament. And I do think he's a little bit wasted if he's going to come in as low as number 8. Certainly the crowd last game, he got naught off 2 balls. They're excited to see him, but I think that so many of them are turning up potentially to see one of his last ever games. And yeah, I mean, when I arrived in India last year, the first thing I did was got into a cab and I said to the cab driver, are you a Delhi Capitals fan? And he shook his head. He said, no, I'm an MS Dhoni fan. And that showed me just how massive Dhoni is in India.
Absolutely. Yeah, Anandji is back. Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm back here. So Virat Kohli has faced 149 balls against Ravichandran Jadeja in the IPL with a strike rate of 108 against Jadeja and 123 against Ashwin. Given these numbers, can the two experienced bowlers prove effective against him when you see how much Virat Kohli has dominated Ashwin also, because in history his strike rate is 123 and against Jadeja it's 108.3.
Absolutely. This is another contest that everybody should look forward to. Ashwin and Jadeja. I mean, they have been one successful pair when it comes to playing in Indian conditions, at least in Test cricket. And of course, these two getting back in Chennai Super Kings is one treat for the CSK fans as well. But Virat Kohli taking on these two is something, looking exciting. Considering Virat is in hot form, the way he batted in the last game, the way he showed that he's still hungry, even though he may be getting older, fingers are pointing at him. And I'm sure Paul must also be a fan of Virat Kohli, considering a lot of Australians are fans. He must also be looking forward to how Virat Kohli steps down against Ashwin and Jadeja. So it's a great contest. Apart from that, those 145 ball, 157 runs of Jadeja and 145 of 171 shows that this guy is dominating the two bowlers. But then Ashwin, Virat has been playing with Jadeja since under 19 days, so he knows his strengths and weaknesses. He will be cautious. I mean, of course, Jadeja is still one of the greats when it comes to left-arm spin. He's got the number of wickets. Ashwin, there is no doubt about it, the way he has been over the years, over so many years. But again, it's something, playing in Chennai and against Chennai Super Kings, Mahendra Singh Dhoni being behind the wickets. I mean, there will be some contest. It's going to be a tricky situation. Let's hope Virat Kohli comes up with a gem of a knock, because I wouldn't want Virat Kohli to see struggle, considering he's going to England as well for the Test series. So this is going to be one big crucial game. Paul, what do you have to say about the contest between the two, between the three, in fact?
Indeed. Well, the interesting thing is that last season, Kohli began playing quite cautiously, especially against spin. And then halfway through the season, it was as though a switch was hit and he really started to attack the spinners. So those numbers are so interesting with that. Yeah, his overall record against both Jadeja and Ashwin shows the respect that he has for them. But what's going to be fascinating is when he comes out tonight to play against them, is he going to take the same approach that he took in the second half of last year's IPL? and really take on the spinners, because that, you know, as I said at the start of the show, we've got some of the most famous names in the history of Indian cricket. The notion of potentially Jadeja and Ashwin bowling in sequence together with Dhoni behind the stumps, and with Kohli potentially there, not just looking to hit singles, but potentially looking to clear the fence. You know, as I said, it's going to have a massive audience, and you can see why.
I think one thing everyone has to be careful about is MS Dhoni's all response quick rate, because in 0.12 seconds you are just out. So I think taking singles also, everyone has to be super careful. I think at the age of 43, if he's doing that, that's something, you know, amazing as the former captain. Now from former captain to the current captain, speaking of the comparison of the skippers of both teams' styles, Ruturaj Gaikwad looks quite more experienced than Rajat Patidar, but Patidar has been more impactful when it comes to the comparison of strike rate. As you see, Patidar's strike rate is 160 and Ruturaj is 137. So will this difference play any role in the flow of runs for both teams while the skippers are batting there in the middle?
If you look at Ruturaj Gaikwad, he has played his most games in Chennai, which is difficult wicket to score and not an easy one. Although, I mean, it's considering it's a slower one, so you have to be more calculative in your effort. You can't just throw away your wickets. You can't go over the top just so easily. And batting at number three, his position also keep changing. Sometimes he opens the innings, then he bats at number three. That is one thing. But Rajat Patidar is somebody who's batting in a batting beauty of M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. It's easy to hit the ball. The ground is shorter compared to what M. Chidambaram is. So obviously, yeah, Rajat Patidar is more convincing, although he's played less number of games. But it's interesting contrast between the two. I would say, even though Rajat Patidar may be older in age and Ruturaj Gaikwad, a youngster compared to him, Rajat is less experienced when it comes to T20 or maybe IPL. Ruturaj has more number of games, but has more runs. It's a good contest between the two leaders of the team. I mean, both are fresh. He took over the captaincy last year, Ruturaj Gaikwad, or maybe handed over by Mahendra Singh Dhoni when his coronation was done last year, while Rajat Patidar got this time over Virat Kohli. A lot of people were expecting, a lot of cricket fans or maybe critics were expecting Virat Kohli would come back as captain. But then again, it's a different challenge. Rajat Patidar with less number of games, I can see 25, that's it. He's still leading the side with not much success so far. I mean, he's got a great start this season, but when you talk about the runs that the other captains come up with, he's still a noob or maybe a novice. But yeah, he would learn. He would learn with time. But I think it's unfair to compare a player who's playing in Chinnaswamy Stadium, that is Rajat Patidar, compared to a guy who is batting at M.H. Chidambaram Stadium on slower wickets. But again, it's a contest between these two fresh captains. One to look out for, who's going to be more smart, who's going to use their strong weapon like Rajat Patidar's batting team and Ashwin and Ruturaj Gaikwad's spin bowling attack. That's going to be one thing to watch out for.
I think Rajat Patidar has Virat Kohli who can groom him, and Ruturaj Gaikwad has been groomed by MS Dhoni. So those are two very important people who will be guiding them throughout. So Paul, I'd like to ask you that CSK's Khalil Ahmed has a wide experience of playing in the IPL compared to Josh Hazelwood, while the latter has more experience than Khalil. So do you think this comparison is high octane in this CSK versus RCB, the Southern Derby encounter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Khalil Ahmed is a very decent bowler, and he's an improving bowler. The fact that he's a left-armer gives him that point of difference. But I think, even though I'm trying not to be biased as an Australian, I do think that Hazelwood is one of the premier bowlers in the world. And Bumrah is number one. Hazelwood would be close to be number two in all formats. So there's others that are in contention for that. But I was really impressed with his first game, and the fact that he's been fairly injury-free his whole career, but just in these last 3 or 4 years, the injuries are starting to creep in as he gets a little bit older. And so it was really heartening to see him bowl so well in that first game. And I think that he looms as an absolute key. And if RCB are going to have a decent season, he's crucial for them.
This matchup will be definitely a big one. As Tao's last time in the IPL, Chennai was eliminated from the tournament after losing to RCB. So can we see this as a revenge time because everything will be so much fresh in their mind?
Yeah, that is what IPL is all about. It's all spice, it's all masala, it's all fun to watch out for. Because I mean, yeah, international cricket you may not see, you may be serious, you may not be looking at what happened in the previous game because you have a lot of things at stake. But definitely, this is something because fans are completely, crazy. They want to see like some revenge kind of a thing, something, inspire. Since the IPL is also inspired by Bollywood movies or maybe Indian film industry. So all these things will keep coming up. So I think yeah, it's going to be even though we may be thinking that it's a fresh game, new game, but definitely the players will have in their mind. If not the players, fans would definitely have something, and they would be pushing their respective teams to come up with something or the other. And especially Chennai Super Kings fans who will be keen to watch their team take the revenge of the previous season. But I think again, going back to today's game, more than revenge, it's a fresh contest. It's Mahendra Singh Dhoni versus Virat Kohli. Although they are not the captains, but it's a different outlook completely, and it's about Mahendra Singh Dhoni who is getting whose career is when it comes to IPL, his career is coming to an end. While Virat Kohli is, I wouldn't say he's in the mid. Obviously, he's also getting older, but he has enough years so Mahendra Singh Dhoni would be keen on finishing on a high, even though this may not be his last season, maybe, but a couple of seasons more. But he would be keen on finishing on a high, especially when you have RCB or maybe Mumbai Indians as your opposition.
Every year we keep on hearing that okay, this is MS Dhoni's last, but I think that's the catch to bring fans next year for sure. So who do you see in the top order performing for CSK, Taos?
I would expect Ruturaj Gaikwad to perform because he's in form right now. He's in good touch. The way he was batting in the last game, he got a half century. And Rachin, what he did. I'm inspired by Rachin. The way he bats, a youngster, and despite being a youngster, he has taken up the responsibility. He knows he's shown maturity, and not just for this team, Chennai Super Kings, but also, I mean, for New Zealand. Definitely, we have seen what he's done over the years. Top order, these two guys I'm expecting, but then it's fun to see what other guys do. Yeah, top order keeps doing. They have the advantage. They have the power plays. They have the new ball, which is easier to play. But it's the middle order batters who have the more responsibility to finish the game or take the game to the next level.
Paul, which are the bowlers you feel would be taking wickets in the match from RCB side?
Well, obviously, I picked Josh Hazelwood. It's going to be interesting whether or not they play some extra spinners. Will Swapnil Singh get a game? Mohit Rathi. But I think Yash Dale, he's a bit of a favourite of mine. I'd like to see him do well. Another left arm option. So I think that if the pair of them, Hazelwood and Dale, I'm hoping for something pretty spectacular from them. But of course, Krunal Pandya has been the man as well. That doesn't look anything sensational, but that left arm orthodox spin is very, very difficult, and particularly he bowled very well in the first game as well.
So, what do you now? Quick prediction: who will be winning today's match, Paul?
I'll go with CSK. Not with much confidence. Not with as much confidence as I tipped SRH incorrectly last night. So I'm going to go with CSK narrowly to win, but not with much confidence.
Those were who
No,
is
no,
your pick for today?
see, yeah, again, I agree with Paul. I don't have much confidence in both the teams because you never know who comes out well on that day because both are equals. But I would still say it's fun to watch when the team that visits the other venue when they are the guest. It's fun to see they win. So RCB is my favorite team today, and I think Virat Kohli should come up with a gem in this particular game.
Everyone is hoping for Virat Kohli to perform and MS Dhoni to just stump him. So let's see who sort of wins in this situation. So
By
thank you
by
so
the way,
much,
I'm
gentlemen, for
wearing
joining in.
By the way, I'm wearing
Yes,
that red color. I don't know it's a coincidence, but yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence because you're saying CSK and you're wearing red. So what do we believe in here?
No, no, I said RCB.
RCB.
RCB,
Okay,
yeah.
RCB.
Yeah,
So
Virat Kohli. Yeah.
RCB. So okay, so one CSK, one RCB. So we hope that whosoever wins, we should have a great encounter and everyone should enjoy this match. Thank you so much, gentlemen, Paul and Toz, for joining in and sharing your deeper insights. We'll be back with more updates and we'll see you after the today's match. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks, Taos.